Hello, today is the 7th of September, 2020. September is really one of my favorite months. Beautiful time of year, weather-wise, out where I live. It's when we get our best, some of our best weather, typically. Right now we're having a heat wave, and that's not good for the fires, but keep us in your thoughts, please, because it's so sad, and it really does and has been making many of us physically ill to breathe in that air. It does. I'm feeling a lot better, but that's because so far the fires near me are becoming more contained. Yes, they're still burning, and the hot, dry weather, it's not good, you guys. Okay, so today I'm going to read upon Cleopatra, and I'm using the Enchanted Woods Deluxe Petit Lenormand Oracle deck. This is one of my favorite decks to use outside of a tarot deck. Out of the Lenormand, this is one of my favorites. And the illustrations by Colleen Hardy are just beautiful. I love them. So, if you're a tarot reader and you're interested in picking up a great little oracle, it's not real big, it's not real small, it's really a nice little size, just perfect. Consider this. Consider looking into this deck for clarification on readings and just to use in general. That's what I'm going to do today. It's been a while since I've used it. I might have to refresh a little bit with the pamphlet that comes with it because it is a little bit different than the regular Lenormand, and it is certainly different than the tarot. So, without further ado, we're going to, by request, answer the public topic question of whether or not Cleopatra's tomb and her remains, or her tomb, will ever be found. Okay? So I'm going to just try and tune in. I'm going to try to include, well, I'll just ask the universe first. Okay. This is another one of my little Japanese handkerchiefs. I love the print. I love prints. So, me and my lack of focus. Let me get back to the issue at hand. I'm always focused on it, but I multitask. Don't worry, I'm focused. But you have to get in a zone. You have to kind of sink into that energy. So let's help me to get in that zone. Okay. Cleopatra's tomb, will it ever be found? Will Cleopatra's tomb, possibly her remains, will they ever be found? The tomb, primarily, will it ever be found? Will Cleopatra's tomb ever be found? I ask the universe, I ask the spirit of the tarot, my ancestors, the guides. Thank you very much. Help me to read and understand clearly and interpret that succinctly. Thank you. Will Cleopatra's tomb remains, will they ever be found? Okay, let's take a look. Oh my God, look guys, the coffin. Oh my God. Okay, well there's the tomb. So we're tracking. Wow. Okay. Let's see what it has to tell us. Okay. I'm getting first a flash that the tomb still exists. It's ornate. I feel like there were a lot of gifts shown to whoever was responsible, I feel like, for making sure that she was buried and so forth, I think did a very opulent job. There's some opulence, there's a feeling of opulence with her tomb. There's a great deal of reverence also by those who loved her, I think, who set her to rest, her body and her remains. Because this bouquet, there's just this feeling of beauty and femininity and grace. There's just a respect, a reverence around it, a positivity around it. And I feel like the arrangement of her burial site is ornate or was very beautiful. Okay? Kind of feeling like that's a real likelihood that it will be found one day. The dog, loyalty. I believe, once again, we're being given a nod toward the fact that those who laid her body to rest and sorted out the arrangements, the tomb and so forth, and how it was fixed and arrayed, how it was, designed, was by somebody very loyal that wanted her to have a beautiful send-off, that wanted her to have a very befitting tomb. And she had somebody, at least, and I'd say more than one person, that was extremely loyal that ensured this. The book. Oh, this is fascinating. It is meant to be that fated that I believe her tomb will be found. I can't tell you when, but this indicates, with this card, the book, tends to indicate something that is meant and is kind of one of those things that is meant to be found or meant to happen. When you get this card with this deck, it is something that is destined to happen, if you will. Okay? So the real quick answer to that question is yes. But I want to deep dive a little bit more, if you don't mind. Because, as I said, oh, that's a little bit out of frame. Let's see if we can get that a little so that more so you can see the arrangement without making the camera all noisy. And my camera is very noisy when I go to shift it. So okay, so I want you to read from this way to this way. Okay, here's her tomb. It's amazing how that just popped up straight off the get-go. This is one of those readings that is so on point and tight and tracking. Here's the tomb. Here's the fact that at the last card is that it's meant to happen. It's meant to be found. It's one of those things that's destined, as it is written. So to speak, it is meant to be located, apparently. And it will be it will show that somebody that was not terribly surprising, very, very loyal to her, made sure that she had a very beautiful, as much as they could do for her, tomb, that she was laid to rest in the best way that they could, the nicest way that they could. They took care. They took great care. She was very dear to this person, who is responsible for her tomb. And I believe that somebody that specializes, again, a sense of loyalty with regard to her, will be the one that I think finds her tomb. I'm sure there are people currently that are trying to do that. I am not sure if it'll be in our lifetime or not, but I do see it being found. I sure hope it is. Gosh darn it, I wanna see it. So let's throw down just a few more fleshing out cards, see if we can get a little more. There's the answer straight off, and it is a beautiful example of a great reading, if I do say so myself. Gentleman. The child. The ship. The tower. The tower in this deck is not like the tower. Forgive me if this makes noise here. Hang on a minute. Let me just pause it and move the camera. There. I think that's a better way to do it. The tower in this deck is not like the tower in the tarot. This is actually about protection, like a fortress. And can sometimes represent like institutions or whatever. But the basic theme is of protection, of something really being protected, having a great deal of power around it. Okay? And again, look at this artwork. I just adore it. Now, the interesting thing is, one of the first things I'm picking up is when I look at this loyalty card, I get the ship, and I also get a feeling like this person, the ship, movement, travel. I don't know if this individual may have ended up traveling to a protected area. We get a man, and we get a child. That's interesting. The gentleman, a child, ship, tower. I'm feeling like maybe this was the person who basically handled that arrangement for her. But the child. Now I'm kicking myself that I didn't read it a little bit more deeply on her. She's always been of interest to me, but it looks like there was a man that was responsible, and maybe I think somebody who had money, and clout and ability to lay her to rest in a fashion that they felt was appropriate. I really feel like it would have bothered this person had she not received a proper, in their opinion of what proper was, burial. Okay? Also, I'm getting some hits here. The coffin, timing-wise, this probably would be a good deck to use for timing, because just looking at the pamphlet, it does offer for each card like a month associated, timing-wise. So we'll throw that in there too. The coffin timing is August. 8 days, 8 weeks, 8 months, years if paired with the mountain. Well, the mountain isn't here, and the mountain in this deck represents an obstacle, considerable one usually. But so, is this in August? Is this a nod to August? I would look at that as a possibility sometime. I know that we are in the month of September right now, so it's not going to be this year, but maybe in the relatively near future, maybe it will be found, and maybe there could be a connection time-wise with the coffin card to the month of August. I don't know. I'm feeling like this is a little bit of an idea of the person responsible, as I said, for her tomb and the way it was arranged, and this was a loyal person. I get a gentleman, and I'm just trying to kind of get the idea about why there's the child card there, because it does represent a child, or the type of innocence, beginning of something. And I think he had to start over is what I get. Okay. He moved, he left this man, and he was having to start over. Travel, the sea, great distance, departure. So isn't that interesting that we got this man, he had to make a new start. Maybe this was after he made sure that she was buried correctly. And now I feel silly. It's like now I'm trying to remember, when did Mark Anthony die? Did he die after her or before her? What? See, I'm rusty on that. But look, the cards aren't. So let's just see. I'm feeling protection, yeah. Institution, isolation, something larger. Yeah, this person traveled. They went away afterward. They had to start over, and they left the area. So I'm getting that there's a man that was responsible for her, I believe, the preparation of her tomb. Now, if this is about the person who finds her tomb, I would say that I'm not sure that that is actually what would apply here because of this card, but it's a possibility. It would be that this would, regardless, it is about a man who made a new start. They travel and they go a very great distance. They have a sense of protection around them, but they kind of live in a more isolated way. They live in a different manner. And I'm tending to think this was in her timing, and with the unrest that was going on and the change after she passed, I think it's that time. I think it's a man connected to who was the person responsible to seeing to her burial. So if any of you, if that information is out there and I'm just not remembering or not picking up on it, please put it in the comments if you think you know who this man is. Okay? So there is the long story short on if Cleopatra's tomb will ever be located. I get a resounding yes, and that is, it is destined to be found. And there's a man that was responsible for it, how it was laid out, where she was buried, and so forth. And it was in a gesture that came from the heart from this man. He was very loyal to her and wanted to make sure she had a befitting, the best that they could give her, burial. All right? I hope that you're having a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.